What do you think Joshua needs to do in the next fight to grow from this in terms of mental game plan, tactics, training? What was there any glaring
Same thing that
areas?
Klitschko's had to do. I'm going to get right to him. Same thing George
Get
Foreman
right
had
to it,
do.
Teddy.
I talked about before. George Foreman submitted against Ali. You can say whatever you want. He got broken down. He gave in. At the end in the 8th round when he pirouetted around, and George Foreman, I love George Foreman.
Pirouetted?
Who is a better ambassador for so many things, for being able to do things who can't do them. Who's a better ambassador for that?
Something's wrong with this dude. Something is seriously wrong with this dude right here, y'all. Okay? And I've been holding in for too long. Something is wrong with this dude. Teddy Atlas. He just said George Foreman submitted to Ali. And he did a pirouette in the ring. Something's wrong with this motherfucker.
For, never saying you're out of it, no matter what your age, no matter how long you were away. He was away 10 years. No matter what goes on in your life, who is a better? I mean, George, I have nothing but respect for that.
Who pontificates? What boxing analyst pontificates more crazy ass shit than Teddy Atlas? That's number one question. Who pontificates more crazy ass shit than Teddy Atlas? And I like Teddy Atlas. But now I'm beginning to see Teddy Atlas for a bitter ass trainer / analyst.
Man. And because of what I'm talking about, because of what he came from, because of what he overcame, but I couldn't have that respect if I didn't understand and acknowledge, at least for myself, what he overcame. I mean, this is a man who reinvented himself. This is a man who had two lives, the first George Foreman, the second George Foreman. And again, this is a guy that could give seminars. He doesn't have to do it.
He said he could understand for himself. Was he in George Foreman's shoes? Was he ever heavyweight champion of the world? Teddy Atlas, how much boxing have you done? Was he a professional, y'all? Let me know. Something's wrong with this guy right here. This guy right here, I swear.
Because he made $200 million with a freaking grill. Right? I mean, $200 million with a grill. But, man, it's brilliant.
You hear that?
He's brilliant.
This man is notorious for dissing you, then complimenting you after he done dissed you. This is Teddy Atlas. He just did it again just there. I mean, he made $200 million off a fucking grill. Off a fucking grill. Fuck you, Teddy. Hating ass.
Good man.
Shut up, Mike.
And he wrote the book on coming back, on talking about overcoming. So this is a guy, though, you have to appreciate it to the level I do. I have to understand exactly what he came back from.
Sorry, y'all.
What
Boxing
went on
Logic's
inside
United.
him. He got broken down by Ali. Ali, as I said earlier, made him believe that it wasn't his choice what was happening to him. It was Ali's choice, that he had no control. The truths and the lies. The truth is it's always your control.
Good
The lie
point.
is it's out of your control. The lie is that it's someone else's control. The lie is that it's circumstances. That is something that you have no say. That's a lie. That's what pressure does. It lies to you. Then it takes you outside and freaking kills you. And he understood that. He learned that night. He came back and he showed it every time he got in the ring. And he became the second George. That second George would have even older, even bigger, even with all the cheeseburgers in his diet. That second George would have beat the
You hear him?
truth to the lie. He would have knocked out the first George, even though the first George.
He says the
was
second
better
George
physically,
would have knocked out the first
everything.
George.
The second George was so damn tough because of that. one of the toughest guys you ever meet. Champion at 46 years old against my guy. 45, 46, whatever it was. I want to forget it. But that's the answer to your question. That's what, forget about all the other, yeah, you gotta learn, maybe you need some help with the training, with the technique, or with some certain thing. Yeah. People gonna talk about cardiovascular. That's not it. That's not it. It's this. It's in here.
Yeah.
It's understanding what George learned. It's understanding that, the difference between the truth and lie in life. What the truth is, what the lie is. What the cutoff point is. That it's your choice. And it was your choice to submit that. It was your choice to go on against Klitschko. It was your choice to give in against Ruiz. It was your choice. You allowed it to be your choice. Until somebody speaks that hard truth to them, nothing will change. And that's the problem when you have people paid to be around you to sometimes tell you things that are other than the truth. That's the problem. But you know what? That stuff disappears quick when...
I wonder did he tell all this shit to Tyson? You know what I think is Teddy Atlas' problem? Teddy Atlas is bitter because nobody is calling him to work. Who the fuck is calling Teddy to say, Teddy, can you train me? Can you train me, please, Teddy? Atlas? No. Nobody's calling Teddy. So what is Teddy left to do? Get on sports networks and pontificate. Get the fuck out of here, Teddy.
When you go down the crooked road, that stuff gets lost real quick. It got lost with George. It got lost when it got quiet at night and there was no one around to tell George you're the best. And yeah, George, it wasn't your fault. It was this, it was that, and it was quiet. And it was only you to hear you at 2 in the morning, 3 in the morning, 12.
Now, in respect to, I wonder did he get this from George himself? Did George tell him this thoughts himself? Tell him his thoughts going through the downs in his career and the ups in his career? I wonder. I'm not saying he didn't. I'm not saying he did. I don't know. But Teddy Atlas is speaking on the fact as if he definitely knows, as if like he's George himself. Like he'd been through the exact same things that George Foreman and whoever, Anthony Joshua, whoever has been through.
But night, then you get the answer. Then it gets lonely. Then you understand. And that's what it's going to take. Listen, the Klitschko's quit. The Klitschko's 10 years dominance. The younger Klitschko, Vladimir, right? I always get him confused with Vitaly. And Vladimir, he quit against Ross Purity. Who was the other guy? Against Brewer. You say anything you want, but he gave up. He submitted. He gave in. And one of the
you can say anything you want, but he gave up. So Teddy Atlas' opinion is above all. He said you can say anything you want. He gave in. So Teddy Atlas, you know what Teddy Atlas remind me of? Have any of you went to college and had the professor or the teacher? I'm sure many of you understand this and know this. The professor and the teacher that's teaching you the class about the curriculum or career that you're trying to go and explore and prosper in, those are actually, the ones who's teaching you are the people who couldn't go explore and prosper in themselves. That's the catch-22. The people who are teaching you in college, oftentimes, not all the time, but oftentimes are the ones who couldn't succeed in that career field themselves. Think about that.
He made an excuse that he ran out of gas because his paws were clogged because Vaseline was put on his legs. All right, please, come on. All right, come on. I mean, we haven't overcome better than Vaseline in our lives. You beat Vaseline, my God. You beat Vaseline. So, you know, so, but he submitted. But then he got to a place, and then he showed it with Samuel Peter. He was on the floor about 7 times, 5 times, 4.
When y'all, I'm gonna put the video. If you haven't seen it already, I'm gonna put the video of this in the link. And Teddy Atlas' neck is almost as wide as his fucking shoulders.
And what? And he won that fight, kept getting off the floor because he got to that place. He got to that place, that professional place, that maturity place, whatever the freak you want to call it. But he got to that place where he realized that it was harder to quit than it was to fight. Because when you quit, you got to live with the circumstances and the reality and the truth of that for the rest of your life.
That's a perfect point.
You have to live with that the rest of your life when you quit.
Look at him feeding
When
him.
you fight, it's over within a moment. It's done.
That's right.
You face it and it's done. And you're where you need to be, where you want to be, but you quit. It's harder to quit than it is to fight the hardest fight in the world. It's harder to quit. Because you got to live with those conditions that come with that, with the repercussions of that, with the reality of that,
True
with
point.
the truth of that,
True
for
point.
the rest of your freaking life. That's called eternity.
It's harder down the
Eternity
road.
is a long time.
Not necessarily in the moment.
Right? You fight for a few minutes. How long you gotta fight? That's if I'm his trainer, that's what I'm telling you. Joshua, how much longer did you have to fight? You had 6 more rounds. 6 times 3, 18. 18 minutes! You couldn't be strong for 18 minutes?
I can see why he ain't training nobody now, though. I can see why no one's calling him. I can see why nobody's calling Teddy Atlas to work. Do Teddy Atlas got any fighters in this that he's training right now? Maybe he do, and I just don't know of. If he is, let me know.
You couldn't. At that moment, you thought you couldn't be, but you could be. But you could be. That's what he's got to learn. That's what Klitschko learned. That's what George learned. Will they admit it that readily? I don't care. I know what I know.
He knows what he knows. He said, would they admit that readily? This motherfucker, something's wrong with this dude. Something is wrong with this dude right here. Teddy Atlas is on his own motherfucking world, man, in his boxing shit. Something is wrong with this motherfucker.
One of the themes on this show that we've spoken about before.
So I guess he answered my earlier question. He didn't speak to George or Klitschko and get these inner thoughts. He's just speaking from his own fucking perspective, like we all do. Teddy Atlas is no different than your average fucking YouTuber. Do you realize this? Something's wrong with this guy. Something is seriously wrong with this guy.
J. Rock Williams, who suffered losses and came back and then won world titles, is the fact that they almost needed to lose to get better. And I'm wondering if you think that's the case here with Joshua. Do you think he rebounds and comes back stronger and
I
grows
don't know
from
what's
this?
inside him. I just answered the question.
We're going to find out, I
We're going to
guess.
find out how important it is to him.
He said, I don't know what's inside of him, but I just answered the question. Okay, let me let y'all hear that one more time.
Then is his bank account more important than his pride, his legacy? His being able to have a comfortable night's sleep when there's nobody around.
Came back and then won world titles.
Hear
is the
this
fact
again.
that they almost needed to lose to get better. And I'm wondering if you think that's the case here with Joshua. Do you think
Hear
he
this one more
rebounds and
time.
comes back stronger and
I
grows
don't know
from
what's
this?
inside him. I just answered the question.
We're going to find out, I
We're
guess.
gonna
I
find
don't
out.
know what's inside him. I just answered the question. I don't know what's inside of him. I just answered the question. Something's wrong with this guy. Something. This motherfucker. Pontification at its best.
I don't know what's inside of him. I just answered the question. I don't know what's inside of him. I just answered the question.
I'm gonna end it on that note. The link to this video will be in the comment section or the description section. And I'm gonna end it on that note, y'all. This is Myron Magnus, Pure Pugilism, Boxing, Logic United. Have a good night. Something's wrong with this guy.